Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show tonight. Tonight's guest, we have Terry Devereaux on the show tonight. She's formerly incarcerated, been home for a while from doing a life sentence in Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. And she's come home and she's giving back and she's doing very well. So we want to welcome Terry to the show tonight. Welcome, Terry, to the show.
Thank you so much.
We're glad to have you.
Nice to be here.
Yes. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions because, as I tell people all the time, that this show is for us, returned citizens to society after doing a period of time incarcerated. Okay, and the show is to bring us home and let people know who we are, opposed to who we once were. You know, we did the metamorphosis, we did the change.
Right.
We went into a system and we did the whole program because you don't just go to prison and just get out of prison. You got to jump through hoops, you got to do certain things, and you got to more or less rehabilitate yourself to get out of prison.
Right.
You go to one of the board of prison and they say, okay, go home.
You're correct.
It's hoops you got to go through. So we want to ask you, first of all, what did you go to prison for?
Second degree murder.
Second degree murder. Where'd you go to prison from?
Oakland, California, Alameda County.
Okay. And you went when?
In 1994.
94. And you did a period of time in prison before you was released.
Yes.
Okay, how much time you do?
20 years, 5 months, 19 days, and 4 hours.
Down to the minute. That's right. We keep that. Okay, so you went into the system. Where did you go to do your time at?
Central California Women's Facility.
Okay, did you do all your time there?
Yes.
Okay. And you went in as a younger woman.
Yes.
Okay. How old were you went to prison?
Well, actually, I caught my case in 1991, and I was out on bail for about 3 years.
Okay.
And I went in prison when I was 27.
27. Okay.
26.
Okay. And you did a period of time in prison. So let me ask you a few questions about the time that you did. When you went in prison, was this your first time in prison?
Yes.
Whoa. And that was like a culture shock.
Yes, it was.
Going into a new environment with crazy stuff going on, and you had to readjust real fast.
Yes, because when I first walked in there, I saw these girls. They were on the weight pile, and I thought they were men, and I thought I was in a co-ed prison.
Really? Is that
Yes.
right? Wow. Yeah. So that was like a jet slap.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we had to grow up.
Yes.
You had to grow up. Okay. And when you went into the system, you had to adjust to that way of living opposed to how you were living before you came to prison.
Correct.
Did you have any children going into the
Yes.
system?
I had 2. I left an 8-month-old daughter and a 4-year-old son.
Okay. And that was something to get used to, not being with your children. You had to adapt to phone calls or visits or whatever.
Yes.
Your children. So how did you do that? I mean, how did you adjust to not being a part of your children's life for that long period of time?
I don't think I could ever adjust to not being a part of their life.
Okay.
So, fortunately, I had my parents, and so my father brought my kids all the time. I was able to correspond with them, talk to them on the phone. I was able to be a parent from prison.
Okay, good. So you say you kept contact with your children
Yes.
in a period of time.
Yes.
Okay, and going in the system, you had to kind of like come to the realization that you had to do something different than what you were doing in order to get out of prison and be part of your family again.
Yeah, but that took a period of time.
Took a period of time, right. It always does. Because we used to live in a certain type of way, and then we really don't want to give it up, you know.
Right.
But then sooner or later we realize that people are going home. I'm still in prison. I have to do something different.
That's correct.
Okay, when did that take place?
Well, the first probably like first 10 years of my prison sentence, I never thought I was going home.
Right.
So I was still holding on to that anger. Then I was a double anger because I was in prison.
Right.
And I felt like I shouldn't have been in prison. So it took me a while to realize that I did something wrong. And I had to change my way of thinking. So it took about 10 years.
10 years.
And then I started coming to terms with why I was in prison, why I was incarcerated. Because I lied for a long time and said I didn't do it. I did. I lied for a long time.
Right. So you had to kind of like take that shell off and accept responsibility and let people know, hey, I did do this.
Yes.
I did this crime, and I'm paying for the crime that I committed, and I got to change the way that I'm thinking now.
Yes.
Okay, and that took about 10 years.
Yes.
Okay, so did you start going to programs?
Well, I was already going to programs. Be right when about a year after I got off closed custody, because when you first go in, you have to do closed A custody, and that's
Right.
when you can't be out at night or
Right.
go behind work exchange.
Right.
So the following year, I got off closed A in 10 months, and then I went and took my GED. So I passed my GED successfully. Actually, I got it on my mother's birthday, July 13th, and so
What a birthday present.
yes. And I was going to groups, American, substance abuse, just doing different things. But I still wasn't accepting the responsibility, although I was going to those groups.
So it took you a while to take those groups seriously.
Yes,
Okay, after a period of time.
yes,
And then when you took the group serious, you started doing things that you know that you needed to do to prove to these people, the prison interns, that I'm different. I've changed. The person that came in doesn't exist anymore.
correct.
So that took 10 years, and you went to the group, and you did the rehabilitation yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So what did that feel like?
Well, I realized I needed to go to therapy because I needed to deal with some issues. I was molested as a child. I wasn't able to tell my parents. I was raped. I was abused. Just different things, going on in my life that I never wanted to relive. And so I had to start dealing with those problems in order to come to terms with why I was so angry. And that was very hard and difficult for me.
I can imagine. That. Yeah. So how many times did you go in front of the Board of Prisons?
2003, 2005, 2008, 2010, 5.
5 times.
Yes.
I know at one time they wasn't giving dates. Period. The Gray Davis and the Pete Wilson, they wasn't giving dates.
Correct.
It was a blanket. You get out in the pine box only.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah. So were you involved in that period where you was going to the board and they wasn't giving dates?
Yes, but at the same time, they wasn't planning on giving me a date anyway at that time because I had 115s. So I had 9 disciplinaries.
Okay.
From the first time I went to the board up until the last time, I didn't receive any more 115s. Well, I did receive one more after I went to the board the first time, but other than that, I didn't receive any more. So it was just, dealing with the community inside the prison, because you might as well say that was a little city within itself.
Yes, it is. Definitely it is. They got everything in the prison that they got out on the street.
Sure do.
They got the bank, trust office.
Yeah.
They got the canteen, Safeway. Everything they got in there, they got on the street.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a little city within itself. So you went in front of the Board of Prison Interns. Now, going in front of the Board of Prison Interns, the times that you went, you were denied constantly because of various reasons.
Yes.
Okay, why do you think that they didn't find you suitable?
Because I didn't accept responsibility.
Okay.
And the 115s.
Okay. So they wanted you to look at what you were doing, which is self in prison, because eventually, if you corrected yourself, you were going to be able to go home, and there was a chance that you're going home.
Yes.
So they wanted you to look at what you were doing, read the transcripts. They say, read the transcripts. You read the transcripts, and say, oh, okay.
But I never read mine.
Never read them.
No.
I didn't either.
I didn't read them.
Coming back from board, you're upset.
Yeah.
You put them up on your bunk, and that's what it be.
Well, I got mine shredded. I didn't care.
Yeah. But then they tell you, oh no, read the transcripts.
Yes.
Read the transcripts. And I don't need that. It's over with. I got 3 years now, 5 years now, whatever. Come
Yes.
back. And that last year, you start preparing.
Yeah.
You never read the transcripts.
Yes.
And I read mine. I think the last time I read mine, and I said, oh, that's what they mean. I did that. I got found suitable.
I still didn't do it.
You still didn't do it?
No.
Okay.
I just started working on myself and reflected on my life. So I was able to make timelines and remembered certain things that was happening and how my anger progressed. So I was able to do it that way.
Okay. So, and sometime the light came on. Bing.
Yes, it came on in 2008 when I went to board. As a matter of fact, Tony West, I had did some. I don't remember how I got him, but he works for Barack now, but his law firm took me to board, and so I went in front of two commissioners. They were brand new, and they explained to me why they were denying me the 2 years, and that was in 2008. And so I was thinking, but I knew I had it. They knew I had it, but because of the 115s, and I couldn't articulate why I did what I did, that was grounds for the 2-year denial.
Right.
I went again in 2010, and they gave me a 5-year denial because one of the commissioners said he took it personal for what I did.
He took it personal?
That's his exact words. He took it personal.
Wow. Really? Wow. Yeah. So you went back. Did you get put in for an early advancement, or did you put in for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did that. My daughter was planning a baby, and when she was getting out of high school, her boyfriend was planning a baby, and she told me. So then she told me, "Mommy, I'm pregnant," and I was crying. I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be there." And then she had him in February, and she brought him up in May. I'll never forget that day, May 19th, 2013. And I was looking at him in the visiting room. I said, "I'll be home next year." She said, "You always say that, and then they never let you come home. And besides, you don't go to the board till 2015. I said, "I'll be home next year." She said, "Okay, I don't believe you." I said, "Watch, because he's not going to grow up without me." So I went back to my unit, and I already had my packet together for my early advancement. And I took it to the cop shop and mailed it out. It came back in 2 weeks. They granted my early advancement.
Is that right?
Yes, they took me to board. They were supposed to take me within 90 days, but it wasn't no room on the calendar until that February. They took me February the 5th. They granted parole.
Is that right?
And then I parole June
See
14th.
see how things work?
Yes,
How things work?
yes.
See, one thing about us, people doing time in prison, see, we kind of like set ourselves up for failure, for success.
Yes.
Because we know what we have to do. Okay, we know what we should do, but sometimes, change is something that we don't like. We don't like change.
Right.
We like to stay where we are. But when we get to the point to where we say, well, let's try this, it might work. And if you try it, it works. It's okay. I'm gonna do something else, right? So that's what we do. We set ourselves up and say, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm going home. You told your daughter, I'm coming home next year,
Yes.
right? And you try something different, and you made it work. And
Yes.
you're home.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're home. What year did you come home?
2014.
Okay. What you doing now?
I work full time. I go to college almost full time. I'm 1 credit from full time. I have a side part-time job that I do just to stay busy, and I never have enough time in a day. Never.
What you taking up in school?
Sociology.
Okay. And what do you want to be?
Well, not necessarily a sociologist, but a director
Okay.
of some program.
No problem.
Not necessarily a drug program, but I want to help adolescents because I wasn't helped at that age. And I feel like when my anger was starting to progress, my parents should have paid attention. But, they were working all the time, and they never, we did family things up until my parents broke up, but they never paid attention, and I just couldn't understand why nobody knew. Now as an adult, I don't realize how nobody knew what was going on with me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we grew up in families where, mother and fathers, and they work, they're trying to provide. Because when we were born, they didn't have a manual. They didn't get a manual from the hospital.
Right.
They did what they knew to do from their parents.
Right.
So we grew up. We do the same thing. We try to do the best we can for our children, you know. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, because we can't fault them because they did the best they could. You know, so we at the point now where you're grown, you got children that's grown, you got grandchildren. How many grandchildren you got?
One. That's my baby.
That's your baby. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you spend a lot of time with your grandchild?
As much as I can.
Okay. Okay.
As much as I can.
Okay. And so your future looks bright.
Oh, yes.
Future looks
Yes.
bright. Right.
Yes.
There's nothing that we can't do.
Sure isn't.
Right. We got a
'Cause
black president.
It sure is. Sure do. I have the first woman president.
That's right.
Matter of fact, we are going to have the
That's
first
right,
woman
you go.
president.
You know?
But, you know, I earned my AA degree in prison, so I'm able to go to state. I just need a couple more classes to go to state, and I can go to state. And these classes are killing me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. And then you're doing other things too. I could imagine. Yeah, your plate is full.
Yes.
Yeah, your plate is full.
Overflowing.
Right. But one thing for sure, it's full now, but slowly but surely you're gonna scrape some off.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Oh,
And then it's gonna be like the sky's the limit.
Yes.
Right. Because that money gonna start coming. You
Yes.
start living the way you want to live. You can look back and say, well, it was hard, but it was worth it. It was
Yes.
worth it. Yeah, yeah. So like I say, it's nothing that we can't do. You know, we've been to the worst of the worst.
Yes.
Right? We've been to hell. You know, I tell people before we went to prison, we was in a cesspool. You know, cesspool was all waste,
Yeah.
right? And then we got thrown out the cesspool and they sent us to hell. We went to the pits of hell.
Yes, we did.
You know what I mean?
And I know I was, because it's
Yeah.
far worse in a women's prison
Yes.
than it is
In
a
prison.
men's
Yes.
prison.
So you went to the pits of hell and you got kicked out like Job, got kicked out,
Thank God.
right? So what you gonna do now? Gonna live life, enjoy life.
That's
every day,
it, because I can never go back.
Right,
Never.
exactly, exactly.
And you know, it's funny, when I first got out, one of the parole officers, he was going to be my parole officer, and I ended up getting another one because he had too many women. And he told me, you know what, Terry, you could have been out a long time ago. I said, what do you mean? He said, those 115s kept you back. I read your transcripts. I read everything about you.
Yeah.
You could have been home a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him like, wasn't nothing I can say.
Right, it's done. It's done. But like I said, a lot of times we don't look at the things that we're doing then because that's what it is. We're doing us.
Right.
We ain't concerned about nobody around us, the circle, or nobody. We're doing us. You know, we feeling us. So we don't think about the things we do until after we do it, and then we can look back like the tape. We can rewind it and see what we did and say, did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did it. You did. Yeah, you did that. And you say, my goodness, wow. If I can just do it again, it won't be like that.
It sure wasn't. You know, a lot of people don't. They asked me a question at the board, and they asked me, do I feel I deserve to be paroled? And I told them no. And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you can't put a price tag on taking someone's life, and you can't put a set amount of time that you do in prison. What I did was wrong, and I have to pay for it. Do I want to get out? Yes. But do I think I deserve it? No. Will I be happy if I got out and you granted me parole? Of course. I'll be ecstatic. But it still will be still a sadness inside of me that I have to carry for the rest of my life, because what I did was senseless. Some people have reason to do what they did. I didn't. You know, and it bothers me still today.
Sure, of course.
I get to sit and I stare at my kids and my grandson, and I look at my parents and my brothers, and I say, well, I still get to see my parents, my kids, my siblings, but he'll never get to see his, and they'll never get to see their father, all because of an anger issue I had.
Yeah. Well, we have to, we have to be remorseful for the crimes that we did for the rest of our life.
Yes.
You know, because like I said, the individual will never come back. He'll never be able to sit down at that table on holidays, whatever, with his family, the birthdays, whatever. He'll never be able to do that. But we have to, we can't hold on. We got to let go and be remorseful for the rest of our lives for the crime that we did. But that's one thing that we can't change. It'll never be able to change.
Right.
Right? So we can't hold on to it. That's like a cancer. If you have a cancer and if you constantly give it air, or give it whatever it needs to grow, it'll spread. And before you know it, everything is covered with cancer.
Right.
Right? So we have to cut that cancer out. And we got to move on because that happened. It's not going to change. You know, so be remorseful. Never forget it. Okay, but move on.
Yes.
Move on and be positive. And from now on, be positive.
Yes.
Everything you do.
Yes.
Anybody that you can talk to out of doing something that's negative, do that. That's work. That's service.
Right.
Right? That's all you can do. You know, be positive.
You're correct.
Be positive. You know, and like I said, you're gonna be all right.
Oh yes.
You're gonna be all right because you
I'm
made it back
determined.
on this side of the wall. A lot of people don't make it back.
You're right.
Right?
You're
A
right.
lot of people go up in there and they can talk to that board of prison terms and talk to those commissioners, and they hear all the best stories in the world. They hear the finest stories coated down with sugar. Every day they up and down the coast, going to different prisons. Right? But if you don't convince them that you've changed and this will never happen again, they're not gonna sign that paper.
You're correct.
Right? So you put work in to make it back on the side of the fence.
Yes.
You know. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I really do. I commend you for that. And we want to make sure that we have you later on in the year or so. We want to bring you back to the show.
Okay.
We want to give an update to society because society need to know that you once was one type of person, right?
Right.
You know, you went temporary insane. You took somebody's life, right? But a lot of people in society, they went insane. They never came back. They're still out here, and they insane, walking the street.
I see them every day.
Every day, right? But we went temporary insane. We went into a society within the society itself. We rehabilitated ourselves. We came out like this. You know, people look at you, look at me and say, "You been to prison? You don't look like you've been to prison."
That's what they tell me.
You know what I mean? You don't like you've been to prison. Okay, how do you look going to prison then? How do you look? You know what I mean? That's why I asked her, how you look? You know, but you don't like you've been to prison for how long? I tell them, I say, my goodness.
Yes.
You know, so we fit in where we supposed to fit in, and you fitting in. So we letting society know that, you know, we were once one type of person. We went into a society. We became part of that society for a number of years. We did everything that we supposed to do in that society for a number of years. But then in the end of those years that we did a change. We did what you call the metamorphosis. We did a complete change. We went from a cocoon to a butterfly.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Cocoon
And
to
you
a
know,
butterfly.
a lot of officers helped me along the way too. Sergeants.
They got some good ones.
Yes. And it was so funny. One, he retired a lieutenant. He watched me since I first came to prison. And he retired, I think, maybe a year or two before parole. And he would call every day to check on me.
That's right on.
And they'll say, "Why is he calling up here?" I said, "I don't know."
Yeah. Making sure you're doing the right
I
thing.
said, "I have no clue."
Making sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right thing. So Terry, we want to thank you immensely for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
You know, we really do. You know, we want to bring you back in some months, maybe a year or so. Okay. We're doing a live show now. We're doing a live show on Thursdays at 6:30.
Okay.
You know, we get call-ins. People calling in. And I want to bring the people back that's doing the pre-record on the live show, so we can have people call in and ask you questions about how you do this. What are you doing? When we put people to call in and talk to you
Okay.
live, so you can talk to them and tell them, hey, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know?
So they really do that?
Yeah, we got a live show on Thursdays at 6:30 on Channel 76. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got people calling with death row. We had a death row inmate call a couple weeks ago.
I have a friend on death row.
Yeah, so we got people. We want to enhance this program because this station is an outstanding station. You know, they're doing a lot of good work for the community, for us,
good.
right? This is the first time we have a show for ex-cons coming up from prison. They never had a show before, you know. And I got the show. I'm an ex-con. I did 27 years and 9 months. You know, I'm doing a show for us, so people can know who we were going in, who we are now, and what our intentions are for the future.
Correct.
So that's the first time, and we're doing it. You know, we're making a difference. You know, and we're gonna keep on doing what we're doing.
Yes.
So we want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so
right?
much.
And we want to bring you back, and we want to wish you the very best at whatever you do.
Thank you.
The very best, and be the best at it.
Thank you.
Like I said, we got a black president, and finna have a woman.
It sure is.
Right. So thank you. We want to
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
be that woman president in about 10 years.
You can do that. You can do that. This is America. You can do that.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you, viewers, tonight. You know, we got we got Thursday. We got a live show on Channel 76 at 6:30. This week we'll have an inmate, convict, a person that went into the system. He did 10 years for a crime he didn't commit. They framed him, they arrested him. The person that committed the crime, he was arrested with this gentleman. The man didn't even know him. He went to prison, did 10 years. Years after the district attorney that sent him to prison went back to prison and freed him. So we have him on the show this Thursday at 6:30. So tune in this Thursday. You'll be able to call in and ask him questions about his conviction. And we want to thank you and have a good evening. And we'll see you Thursday at 6:30. Thank you.